Let us continue our discussion on the topic knowledge. Different kinds of knowledges are objects, events, performance, facts, and meta-knowledge. Objects are defined through facts. For example, guitar can be considered as an object, and the fact about it is that it is a string instrument. Events are actions. The playing of this object can be considered as an action or event. So in this example, playing guitar is an event. Performance involves the behavior of knowledge of action. Whenever we want to perform some action, we should know how to play the object. So it is called as performance. Events are actions and performance is the knowledge for this event to happen. How to play the guitar in this example. Facts are truth about a real world. For example, she is the best guitar player. Can be a type of knowledge and it can be considered as a fact if she is the best guitar player. Meta-knowledge can be considered as knowledge about some other knowledge. For example, we knew she plays guitar well. We know that she has the capability of playing guitar. We have the additional knowledge that she plays the guitar very well. So two kinds of knowledges are happening here. Two levels of knowledge are happening in meta-knowledge. So these are the kinds of knowledges. Now let us see what a knowledge model means. It defines the level of connectedness with the degree of understanding. We can connect different things and we can understand the different things. When we compare these two as a graph, we get a progression of something that we have seen in the previous class, the progression of knowledge, where data is transformed by assigning some meaning to form information. Then information is transformed into knowledge and knowledge finally transformed into wisdom. So they are the different levels of connectedness and understanding. If we plot like this, here the y-axis is the degree of connectedness. We'll be connecting different entities that is represented through y-axis. Then through x-axis we will be having the degree of understanding about these entities. So both these are progressing or increasing. Here connectedness is increasing, here understanding is increasing. So at the initial state we are having the data, raw data. It is being converted into information by understanding the relation between the data and some aspects on that data with respect to some situation. So it becomes an information. Again, from information we are extracting or analyzing the information. After analyzing the information, we are getting some patterns which can be taken into granted for some additional information about the pattern. That we call it as knowledge. And we convert this knowledge into wisdom by applying some principles on this knowledge. So these are the transformations from data to wisdom. This progression we have seen already in the previous class. So it is dependent on these two factors, degree of connectedness and degree of understanding. And this is known as the knowledge model. So it is a transition from data to information, after that information to knowledge, and finally knowledge to wisdom. The knowledge model support the understanding from one stage to the next stage. It is being transformed from one stage to next stage, and this transition is being understood through this knowledge model. The distinction between data, information, knowledge and wisdom is not discrete. We cannot identify when this transition is taking place. Up to a certain level it may be data, and gradually it will be moving on to the information state. Then gradually it will be moving to the knowledge state. It is not a sudden change from data to information, information to knowledge, and knowledge to wisdom. It is a gradual transformation. They can be considered as a shade of gray rather than a black and white color, because it's a mix of gray color is the mix of black and white. It may be more lenient towards black color or white color. We say it as dark gray or light gray. It's a gradual transformation from one color to the other color. In the same way, these data, information, knowledge and wisdom happens very gradually instead of a sudden change. So it's not a discrete activity. Data and information deal with the past and are based on gathering facts and adding context. So data and information deals with the past, knowledge deals with the present, and wisdom deals with the future. So the past to the future can be represented through these four entities, that is data, information representing the past, knowledge representing the current or the present situation, and wisdom for the future vision. Now let us see the knowledge typology map. I don't know whether you can identify the terms on your mobile screen because they are so small. So what I'll do is I'll split this picture or image into different parts and explain what are the associated activities going on along with knowledge. So this is the knowledge. So in my sub pictures, knowledge will not be available. I'll be taking out this without this knowledge, and this one will be one figure without this knowledge, and this is another portion, this will be another portion. All these four portions are connected with knowledge. From here we have something to give to knowledge. Here also it is giving something to knowledge. Here also it is giving something to knowledge. But towards this direction, knowledge is providing some things to this unit. Apart from this unit, all the other three units are giving something to knowledge. So knowledge will not be present. You have to assume that knowledge is actually knowledge is present with all other images. So let us enlarge these parts for discussion. So this is the first portion. Here we have the knowledge portion. So this is the tacit knowledge. Tacit means it is acquired through experience and some insights that we may be having, or some action that is being performed. Clearly we can say that it cannot be expressed or written onto some book or record for others to refer. So tacit knowledge are obtained or acquired through experience or some insight knowledge a person may be having. It will be different for different persons, and this experience is obtained through doing some action or performing some action. So that knowledge is known as tacit knowledge. So this can be used along with knowledge for future references. So experience count in the knowledge. For using knowledge, experience will count. So that type of knowledge is known as tacit knowledge. So that can be associated with knowledge. Then another one is information. We have seen in our progression graph that information is being transformed into knowledge. So here we will be having the knowledge. Okay, information is obtained from data, facts, and the context, because we have to assign some meaning to data, and data may be same for different situations, and it will be getting meaning according to the situation. So that is known as the context. So based on the context, we can have or assign meaning to data, and we'll be using some fixed statements or facts or truth about something for assigning meaning to the data. When all these things are done, we get the information, and this information can be used in the knowledge entity. So we have seen tacit knowledge obtained from experience, then from some statements or truths associated with some values and context or situation to form some meaningful information that can also be used in the knowledge entity. Then we have explicit knowledge. It is formed by concepts, some rules, some processes or procedures, principles, etc. constitute the explicit knowledge. From that also we can provide something to the knowledge. For building knowledge, we can use explicit knowledge also. It is based on some concepts, some processes, procedures, principles, etc. So from experience we are having knowledge, from data we are having information, then that information can be converted to knowledge, then from procedures and principles we are having knowledge. So this is the third one. And the final one is knowledge conversion. Knowledge is being converted into wisdom, and for that conversion we will be using some other patterns or methods for this wisdom conversion. Another four factors that leads into knowledge conversions for obtaining this wisdom are internalization, socialization, combination, and externalization. According to the typology map, tacit knowledge is derived from experience by doing some action and obtaining some subjective insight. It is difficult to record or transform from one person to other person. It is not being able to make statement on this activity or action. Then explicit knowledge is derived from principle, procedure, process and concepts. So these can be represented or recorded. We can read out this principle about principles or procedures or processes. Concepts we can get from other documents, or it can be recorded. So these are the main two types of knowledges, tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge. The main difference between them are one cannot be recorded or transferred from one person to another person, whereas explicit knowledge can be passed on to another person through documents or records or something like that. Information is derived from data, context and facts. The knowledge conversion gets done through internalization, socialization, externalization, combination and finally get on to the wisdom. Knowledge is being converted to wisdom by using or by performing these four activities, that is internalization, socialization, externalization and combination. So we have four quadrants here, and we will be moving through these quadrants repeatedly. This spiral shows that it is a somewhat continuing process. So socialization means we will be moving from here to here. That is, when tacit knowledge is converted to tacit knowledge itself, we can say that socialization. That means when some people speak with other people, they are passing something between them, and this is known as socialization. We are speaking out about some action to some other person. So that is known as tacit to tacit, which is known as socialization. Then tacit to explicit is externalization. From tacit knowledge, that is knowledge which can't be recorded, we are making what? Some records. From the form where we cannot record anything, we are moving on to the other form where we can record something. So with this tacit knowledge, we are producing explicit knowledge. So it may not be foolproof or 100%. Every knowledge in this cannot be converted exactly to this corresponding knowledge in explicit, but we can somehow write down the concepts or something we have with the tacit knowledge. That is known as externalization. Another one is explicit to explicit. Explicit means some group of knowledges or recorded facts. This is also recorded. So from transforming from explicit to explicit means we are having different documents and we are gathering information from those documents and we are producing a new document. That is known as combining or combination. Different documents or informations are combined to form another document or another record. So both these are explicit in nature. Then internalization means from this explicit nature we are converting into tacit knowledge. So from here we are moving something into our brain which cannot be expressed. So from these documents we are gathering something from these documents. So these four, mainly there are only two knowledges, tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge, and we can convert tacit knowledge to another level of tacit knowledge, then tacit knowledge to explicit knowledge to another level of explicit knowledge. Then from this explicit knowledge we can improve our tacit knowledge, and this process goes on continuing, and these four conversions are called as socialization when the conversion is from tacit to tacit, externalization when the conversion is from tacit to explicit, combination from the conversion is from explicit to explicit, and finally internalization when the conversion is from explicit to tacit. And this is not a ending process, it continues in a spiral fashion. So this is known as SESI model, and these are the four letters: socialization, externalization, combination, and internalization. So S means socialization. It is a tacit to tacit change or transformation. Knowledge is passed through practice, guidance, imitations, observation, etc. We cannot record anything from these practices. It is gained through experience. Again, two persons will be having two types of tacit knowledges, even if they go on the same processes, go through the same processes, because what they understand from doing things or observation will be different from person to person. So they will be having different levels of tacit knowledge. So one tacit knowledge can be converted to another tacit knowledge, can be improved to form another tacit knowledge. Such improvement or transformations are called as socialization. It may be in the same person or it can be in different person. With the knowledge of other persons, a second person can be used, or second person can improve his tacit knowledge. The second one is externalization. It is tacit to explicit transformation. And this is considered as difficult because we have seen that tacit is non-expressible or non-recordable format of knowledge, and explicit means it is a recorded form of document or records. So from tacit to explicit means it is against our theories, but still we can record something from this tacit knowledge. Unexpressible knowledge can be recorded in some way. So it is considered as difficult, and it is also an important conversion mechanism, because treating or keeping everything in one's mind is not that good. It has to be transformed or transferred to some other persons also. So it has to be done in any way. Tacit has to be converted to explicit knowledge, but as I said, it cannot be foolproof or 100% conversion. So tacit knowledge is codified to documents or manuals. Since tacit knowledge is virtually impossible to codify, the extent of this knowledge conversion mechanism is debatable. It is against our previous discussions. Then another one is combination. It is explicit to explicit transformation. It is the simplest form. Some codified documents or records are referred, and from those records we are creating new information, and that information can also be recorded. So the source is a record and the destination is also a record or document. So we treat them as explicit to explicit conversion. Finally, we have the internalization. It is the transformation of explicit knowledge to tacit knowledge. As explicit sources are used and learned, the knowledge is internalized. We will be gathering some information from records or documents, and we'll be taking them into our memory or brain. So internalized, and modifying this whatever knowledge we had from these records or documents, we can update the tacit knowledge of ourselves. So our existing tacit knowledge can be modified with the information that we received from the documents available, or the explicit knowledge. So from the explicit knowledge, we can improve our tacit knowledge. That is known as internalization. So these four letters form the SECI model, SECI model. So this is known as SECI model, where each of the alphabet SECI represent the above actions.